What is up, guys? It's That's Game here, and welcome back to my channel. Now, today we are going to be doing something new for my channel, something very new. Nothing like the content I've done before, but it's something that I think you guys might like. So, today we are going to be looking at my Premier League predictions for the 2022-2023 Premier League season. With Crystal Palace versus Arsenal kicking off in just a few hours, I thought, why not? Why not give it a try? Football is something that I am passionate about. So I thought, yeah, why not? Why not? Let's have a look at it. So in this video then, I will be looking at how the table is going to look when the season is over. I will be also looking at the Premier League's Golden Boot winner, which I think will be a very interesting race. I will also be looking at the first manager to get the sack in the Premier League, which there are a few contenders, but there's one real standout for me in that race. We'll be also looking at the FA Cup winner and the Carabao Cup winner. I will just say before we get into everything that I do believe that the World Cup this year, which starts in November and ends in December, will be a massive factor in every country's season, not just the English Premier League. I do believe that the World Cup is poorly positioned this year and anything could happen this season. So these Premier League predictions could be completely wrong and could go out of the window by January, February, but these are the ones I'm predicting. Hopefully the World Cup doesn't mess anything up too much and that my predictions are going to be some good ones. So without further ado then, let's get into it and fill out this Premier League table. We're going to be starting with the relegation places and number 20. So in at number 20 then, we have got Bournemouth. I am predicting the Cherries to have a really tough season. They've only brought in 3 new players. I know they're currently linked with Barcelona goalkeeper Neto, which might get over the line in the coming weeks. But I am predicting Scott Parker to have a really tough job on his hands this season. I can't see Bournemouth staying up. They just don't have the Premier League quality. And with the likes of Jefferson Lerma in the midfield, it's going to be really tough. I think he's going to be a liability, and not just him, but I can see players not performing and Bournemouth ultimately going down this season. In at number 19 then is going to be last season's playoff winners, Nottingham Forest. Now, people might be thinking that this is a wild decision, that Nottingham Forest play some good football, but I think that they have signed too many players. They've signed currently 12 new players, including Jesse Lingard, Dean Henderson on loan, Moussa Niakate, and also Omar Richards, just to name 4 of them. I don't see this team gelling in time in order to get a rhythm out of it. I think last season's Nottingham Forest team in the Championship did well because it had a few seasons playing with each other and they were able to get that rhythm, but I just don't see this team gelling. Although I will say that I can see Nottingham Forest pulling off a Sheffield United and pushing high up the table this season. But it's just about getting that team cohesion at the start. So we'll have to see how they do this season. In at 18 is going to be quite a surprise for some people. It's going to be the Toffees Everton. I really cannot see the blue side of Liverpool staying up this season. They've only got 3 new signings currently. I know they're linked with Idrissa Gana Gueye and Onana, but I can't see them staying up. They haven't brought in a replacement for Richarlison. DCL is constantly injured and it'll be a struggle for him to find form. I really can't see where the goals and the wins are going to be coming from, other than Anthony Gordon, maybe Damari Gray, Dwight McNeil maybe, but I can't see them staying up, and Frank Lampard must be a favourite to be first sacked this season. I can't see Everton staying up, I'm afraid. In at 17 then is going to be Fulham. They are the only promoted team I am predicting to stay up this season. I've got a feeling about Fulham this season. There's just something different about them. They've strengthened their squad well in the transfer market, but I do still believe they will be in a relegation battle. They might be in and out of the bottom three with Everton or Notts Forest maybe, but I'm predicting a tough season for Fulham, but I still think they'll stay up. They just need players like Mitrovic to stay fit and in form, and they'll have a good season, staying 17th. In at number 16 then is going to be the Bees, Brentford. I've got them 3 places lower than where they finished last season because they've only brought in 2 new players and they haven't replaced Christian Eriksen. This is going to be a tough season for Brentford. They need all their players to stay fit and they need their players to find form, and hopefully we can see the Bees stay up this season. In at 15, we have got Leeds. I'm predicting a decent season for Leeds. Jesse Marsh's first full season at Leeds. He's managed to bring in some signings he's familiar with. I still think they might be within the relegation battle, but I think they'll get out of that pretty early. They just need players like Bamford to stay fit, otherwise they could end up with Dan James up front again like last season, which was a real problem for Leeds. They just couldn't find the goals. But yeah, I'm predicting Leeds to finish 15th this season. At number 14, we have got Southampton. Now, 14th for Southampton might sound a bit low, but actually this is 1 place higher than where they finished last season. Southampton have never really pushed on to break into the top 10, which I'm not predicting them to do this season. I think a comfortable 14th finish is good for Southampton. They've made some very, very promising signings, as well as Joe Aribo from Rangers, who was one of Rangers' best players last season. I just think that Hasenhüttl needs to push his team on in order to really try and get that top 10 finish for Southampton. In at 13th is another surprise. It is Leicester. Now this is 5 places dropped by Leicester from last season, and this is because they haven't brought in any new signings. With their club captain Kasper Schmeichel off to Nice, and with moves for Maddison, Fofana and Yuri Tielemans all looking likely, I think this is going to be a tough season for Leicester. Now yes, while they play some good football and have good players, good quality players, if they don't make any signings before the end of the window, I am predicting 13th for Leicester. In at 12th is the Seagulls, Brighton. This is 3 places lower than where they finished last season. They have brought in no Bissouma replacement, which is going to be a huge factor in their season. I don't think they'll do as well this season. Cucurella seems to be on his way to Chelsea, which is going to be a huge loss for them. I think Graham Potter is going to have to work some magic in order to get Brighton into the top 10 this season. In at 11, we have got Aston Villa. They have brought in 3 strong first-team players in Diego Carlos, Kamara and Philippe Coutinho, making his loan move permanent. I think Stevie G's side are going to be a dark horse in the Premier League this season. They could pull up wins out of any game. I think it's going to be a really good season for Aston Villa. They've swapped captaincy from Tyrone Mings to John McGinn, which is going to be really interesting to see how that's going to work. But I think Stevie G's side are going to finish 11th this season. In at number 10 then is going to be Crystal Palace. This is 2 places higher than where they finished last season, and Patrick Vieira looks to be building a really good team with Palace. They've made 4 decent signings in the transfer window so far, and Wilfried Zaha looks on fire in pre-season, which is going to make the Crystal Palace fans very hopeful for their season. He just needs to carry that form into the actual season, and we'll see how they do tonight against Arsenal. But I think Crystal Palace are going to be another dark horse this season. I think they get a bogey team for most teams in the league. So we'll see how they do this season. In at number 9 then, we have got Wolves. This is one place better than where they finished last season, and it's going to be back-to-back top 10 finishes for Bruno Lage. They need the players to stay fit this season, especially Raul Jimenez. I know he's possibly going to miss the start of the season for them, which is going to be a huge blow. But once they get him back fit, he needs to find form quickly in order for Wolves to get into the top 10. The signing of Hwang Hee-chan should help them out, but I am predicting a decent season for Wolves. In at 8 is Newcastle. Eddie Howe has done an amazing job so far with Newcastle. This is 3 places higher than where they finished last season, which is insane to think considering they were in a relegation battle for the first half of the season. They brought in 2 new signings in Nick Pope and Sven Botman, which will only bolster the side. They are also looking at bringing in James Maddison, which is going to be an insane signing for them if they manage to get it over the line. And they could be a real problem this season. If they do manage to get James Maddison over the line, I could see Newcastle even pressing into 7th. So we'll have to see what happens with the Toon side this season. But I have them in 8th. In at 7 then, we have got the Hammers West Ham. Now I think this is going to be a really good season for West Ham. I'm predicting them to have the second 7th finish back-to-back. They've improved their squad depth with 4 new signings in Scamacca, Areola, Aguard and Downs. I think they're going to have a really good run in the Premier League and also in the Cups. I also think they're going to do very well in the Europa Conference League. They've got good squad depth and really good quality. So let's see what happens with West Ham this season. But I'm predicting them to finish 7th. Into the top 6 then, and at the 6th spot we have got Manchester United. Now while the new manager Erik ten Hag brings an exciting style of football with him, I don't think he's been backed well enough in the market with no midfield signing or a forward as of yet. Now, new signings they have brought in add quality and depth to this United side, but I still think problems such as Ronaldo won't help the team this season. I still expect the Manchester side to have a good run in the Europa League and maybe in the cup competitions, but I can see Man United finishing 5th this season, so we'll have to see what happens. But currently, I have United in 6th. In at number 5 then is going to be Chelsea. I think Todd Bowley's first season with the Blues is going to be an interesting one. I think they're going to battle it out with Manchester United for this number 5 spot. But I think Chelsea will just have the edge. Now, while they might have missed out on 1 or 2 deals so far this window, Raheem Sterling, Kalidou Koulibaly and Chukwuemeka strengthen their squad immensely, and with Cucurella looking to come in as well, that's going to add real quality. They've also got Brozier and Conor Gallagher back off loan, which also adds good depth to their squad. I can see Chelsea battling out with Manchester United for this 5th spot, and I can also see them maybe putting in a decent run in the top 4 race. Into the top 4 then, and at the 4th spot, I am predicting Arsenal. Yes, I am predicting this year to be Arsenal's year. I think they've made some really decent signings in the transfer market. Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, which are already going to add to a decent team. I think Arteta is a good and upcoming manager, and he trusts his players, including his new club captain Martin Ødegaard. Arsenal do need their star players to stay fit and in form this season in order to return Champions League football back to the Emirates. At third then is going to be Tottenham. Tottenham look to be a really proper team this season. With the club backing Antonio Conte in the transfer market, they brought in 5-star talents. They brought in Richarlison. They brought in Jed Spence, beating Nottingham Forest to that one. Ivan Perisic, Bissouma, and Clement Longley on loan from Barcelona. All 5 of those are going to add real depth and talent to the Spurs squad. I'm really expecting Spurs to go far in the domestic cup competitions. They just have the squad depth and quality to do that. I think that the front three of Kane, Son and Kulusevski are going to be a serious problem for defences this season. No one is going to want to come up against them. So I am predicting Tottenham to finish third. In at the second spot then is going to be Manchester City. Now, I really don't see Man City winning the Premier League this year. There's just something about them. I can't see them winning it. Even with the new signings of Calvin Phillips, Haaland and Alvarez coming in, I just can't see them getting that top spot. Liverpool are already 1-0 up against City with the Community Shield victory. So I really think City need their star players to stay fit and in form so that they can challenge for the title this season. So Manchester City in at the second spot. And the champions this season, yes, you have guessed it, it is Liverpool. And it really pains me to say Liverpool will be champions this season. With Sadio Mane leaving the club, it's opened up space for 3 new quality signings to come in. Jurgen Klopp always seems to get the best out of his players, and I can really see them going the distance in every competition they are in this season and winning the Premier League. The front line of Salah, Nunez and Diaz is going to terrorise defences and score goals left, right and centre. And I can see the Scouse side bringing home their second league title under Jurgen Klopp. So there you have it, guys. My final predicted Premier League table. That is how I think this season is going to look at the final day. Bournemouth in 20th, Nottingham Forest in 19th, Everton in 18th, Fulham in 17th, Brentford in at 16th, Leeds clenching the 15th spot, Southampton 14th, Leicester dropping to 13th, Brighton at 12th, 11th for Aston Villa, Crystal Palace in at number 10, Wolves at 9, 8th for Newcastle, 7th for West Ham, Manchester United at 6, 5th for Chelsea, 4th for the Gunners Arsenal, 3rd for Tottenham, and 2nd for Manchester City, and the top spot for Liverpool. How do you guys feel about my Premier League table? Would you make any changes? Let me know in the comment section. Or do you agree with me? Please let me know. And the Golden Boot winner then. I am predicting this season the Golden Boot to go to Harry Kane. Spurs look like a really dangerous side this season with the signings that they've made, and Conte looks to be making a really dangerous team there. I think the signings are only going to benefit Harry Kane, and they're only going to make him a better player. And I am predicting a 25 goal plus season for Harry Kane this season. He's going to be a really dangerous threat, and he is my Golden Boot winner for the 2022-23 Premier League season. First for the sack then is going to be Frank Lampard. I am predicting an awful season for the Toffees. I can't see them staying up, and I can't see Frank Lampard lasting the full season. Now, I have paired together the FA Cup winners and the Carabao Cup winners. Now, this is because I can only really see 3 teams that have got a good chance of winning either trophy. I am predicting these silverwares to go to Arsenal, Tottenham and West Ham. All 3 of those teams have prepared well in the summer transfer window, and I can see all of those teams going far in these domestic cup competitions. Even if they don't win these cups, I'm predicting West Ham to win the Conference League and maybe Arsenal to win the Europa. I think all 3 are going to do really well this season, so we'll have to keep an eye on them. So there you have it, guys, all of my predictions for the 2022-2023 season. How do you guys rate them? Please let me know in the comments down below, and while you're there, please don't forget to subscribe and leave a like on the video. Thank you for watching, guys, I really appreciate it, and that's game.